Hello Targar friends. Hey everybody, it's Jason Blaha here, and it's time for another orc mode workout. And today was dynamic effort squat and deadlift day. Some minor changes happening. Today was obviously a chain day, but you guys see I'm using a different box. Now that is a 12-inch box, and some people from the back are like, well, how deep is that? Well, if you guys know from the side views we've done on 12 inches before, I'm about 2 to 3 inches below parallel. It's pretty deep for me. Sometimes from the back angle it might look like it's barely below, but when we've done it from the side, I think it's very, very clear. So still, either way, it's obviously below, and I got a really good deal. Like, I caught them on sale. I was looking for some stuff to maybe adjust various depths for different max effort work on my deadlifts, right? Because I wanted to give myself some different variation for max effort days and to be able to change range of motion a couple inches back and forth either way. Like, I want to be able to do like up to 2-inch block pulls, various deficits, so that we can do stuff like that to get different variations in the mix and to train different strength curves for the max effort lifts. And I wanted some options, and I got a really good deal on an 18 pack of these. Now these things are supposed to be extremely crush resistant, so I figured if they turn out to wear out over time, if I have 18 of them and I'm doing them for block pulls and putting heavy deadlifts on them, hey, great. I've got plenty of them to go through, because I started looking at the cost, and it's kind of difficult to find. Like 1-inch thick rubber mats, like solid hard rubber, is hard to find, and it can be astronomical. Like a stack of those could cost hundreds of dollars. I got a really good deal on these, so I want to see how this sort of foam holds up to having, 500 or 600 pounds dropped on it. Right, I want to see how it holds up with bumper plates, because obviously bumpers are going to be different than my iron plates. I think it'll be interesting to see how it does with bumpers. I think it might hold up. I'm going to test it and find out. Because the thing is, I want to give people out their options, right? We can learn a lot of things with the things I do in my home gym. It'll give you guys options for your home gyms. It'll give you different ways to do things. And the same thing, I test a lot of this stuff because I have multiple clients with home gyms. I have several clients who have home gyms. And they're always looking for inexpensive options for doing all their stuff. And because this is how a lot of powerlifting gyms use mats and things like this for even their box squats, because they're quick adjustments, I got a pack of 1-inch ones, right? So we can adjust these 1 inch at a time. You just add or pull off an inch, bam, 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 down the road. Up or down, adjust the size, right? And we've got a really big surface area there to sit back on too. I mean, even if I wanted to move it further forward, get around the safeties a little bit, a lot of surface area for box squatting. It's a nice soft contact, right? This is really, really a good idea. And there's a reason a lot of them use mats for this. Quick adjustment, right? It's better than boxes. So I thought I already had this stuff. I got a good deal on this pack, because this is one big pack. It was an 18 pack. It was like $100. So it's not a bad deal. So I'm like, well, let me test it for all these things, and it'll show people what different options we have. It's because I like to be innovative like that. Now, when we get to the other stuff, I did some stuff different with the speed pulls today. You guys will see later in there, my whole shin is bloody. Then you're going to notice I don't do any box jumps today. It's not hard to figure out what happened. I tried to push the limits on my box jumps, right? And banged the hell out of my shin. Because my boot, me doing box jumps in boots, I decided to jump on my tallest one. And as I was ramping up, I went to do my first set. Everything was great. Warm-ups. Until I went to do my first set, and my toe of my boot clipped the front of the box. And it kicked the box forward. And I landed up on top of the 30-inch box. You guys will see my shin is bleeding later. You'll see it when we do the glute bridges. And I realized, you know what? I need to quit trying to push the limits on box jumps as a master's athlete. I need to do them. But there's a point where I don't know if for me the cost benefit weighs out. I mean, a really young athlete, absolutely. Weighted plyos are awesome. But I don't know that we need to be pushing the limits on them. All right, I don't know if we need to push the limits. It just is what it is. I mean, they're great, and I feel like they bring so much to the table, but I don't know that they bring enough to the table for me to justify it. Particularly, if you're 20 years old, 25, I get it, absolutely. Now, when you're over 40, banging your shin, doing jumps and stuff, and your explosiveness is not always as consistent, because that's one of the things that's been noted. That's one of the biggest differences with masters athletes. Sometimes it's inconsistent explosiveness. It can be a problem. It's just unfortunate, but it is what it is. So I'm going to think about how I want to go about programming my own box jumps from here, because I can't really risk getting injured. And I lost a pretty good chunk of skin down my shin, and it's still bleeding. So it is what it is. But I finished my accessory work. I didn't puss out. When I had finished accessory work up, and you guys will see it nice and good on camera. But yeah, it hurt. I'm not going to lie. I'm not going to stand there and be like, oh, I'm tough, that didn't hurt. Gosh, it hurt. It totally hurt. It is what it is. Not enough for me to quit training, but it wasn't a pleasant experience. So, over to the point. Squatting went good today. A couple of these I kind of felt getting in my groove wasn't perfect. But I think it was near the end. Maybe I think this next set, coming up on like set 11, it looked a little sloppier than I'd like. But again, I'm getting good at getting out, getting my head positioned where I want it. And that's one of the things too, definitely some guys who do some really brutally strong box squats point out. You can't be looking down on box squats. We really need to be looking up ahead. And historically, when I've done really good squats in the past on camera, like when you guys watch way back when I was messing with Conjugate before, with some of the stuff like the old bag post video, I'm looking up and I'm hitting some pretty good squats. So that's definitely going to be a point of contention I have with, say, starting strength. That's one of the big points of contention, the looking down, I think the low bar squatting, all that. I don't think that's ideal at all. That's why I do high bar, even high bar box squats. It's right up there on my traps. It's up top. Keep your torso up. Keep your torso up. We get the best leverages that way. So that's definitely going to be a thing I disagree with on. And the same thing, we don't need to be looking down. And I'm not saying to look up at the ceiling, but you need to keep that chin up to a certain extent with a neutral neck. None of this looking down. Because that definitely seems to contribute to, again, the thoracic rounding for me. Which, again, is not ideal. We're not getting the best leverages. Speed pulls today. I was already thinking about the fact that my thumbs get really sore doing this, and it's a pain to set up and set the hook grip every time, even on these sumo pulls. So I did want to mess a little bit with mixed grip. So I decided halfway in, because about 10 singles in, my thumbs started getting, just the skin starts to wear. It starts to get fatigued. And so I wanted to start doing mixed grip, but I wanted to alternate it back and forth. So I think that's the way I'm going to go. I want to give myself a lot of options, right? I feel like at this point, all my deadlifting's at the point where I know I could do mixed grip with minimal risk. I can do it with minimal risk. I want to have the options open for everything. I want to keep working on hook grip, but I also want to work mixed grip. At this time, I'm going to learn to alternate it back and forth so we don't develop imbalances. Really focus on pulling slack out of the bar. And since I only pull singles, even my bicep injury before was not on the first rep. It wasn't on a max. It was on my 5th double, and it was the 2nd rep in the set. I feel like at this point, I've learned enough in my life that I know I can do it without hurting myself. I can minimize the risk. So I want to leave all my options open. And I want to see where we can go back and forth. I want to get strong at both directions of the mixed grip. I'm going to keep doing a lot of extra grip training. Like grip training is going to be critical for me. I'm going to keep working on the hook grip, but there's a point to where you can only pull so many reps in a week with the hook grip. And your thumbs, it becomes an issue for your thumbs. And then people will say silly stuff like, well, can't you just wrap them? It's like that defeats the point. You can't wrap them in competition. If you can't use wraps and things on it in competition, you really think doing it in training is going to be a good idea? No. So it's something for people to keep in mind with that stuff. And you're just, you're not toughening everything up. So that's not ideal. So I want to keep all my options open. I'm going to train all my different grips. I'm going to train all my grips. I might even practice doing some stuff with double overhand again. So, hook grip, mixed grip, both directions, alternating it. All these things. We want to keep our options open and get strong at everything. And again, just like I talk about the fact that, we need to train all of our different deadlift stances. We need to train our different ranges of motion. We need to train all these things. Deficit work, a little bit of block work, chains, bands, sumo, conventional. Sumo needs to be primary though, and I've covered a lot of reasons why. But you know what? One of my clients this week One of my clients this week hasn't done any really heavy conventional. He's been training mostly sumo. Most of his work is sumo. He walked in and running conjugate off of a 2-inch deficit. The first time he's tried to pull conventional heavy in months. And he set like a 20-pound lifetime PR on his conventional, but on a deficit, not even a normal. The sumo builds your conventional. And I used to deny that fact. I used to be in denial of it. And it's one of those cases where I have to go, you know what? I was wrong. I was wrong. I admit it. I was wrong. And we need to learn to be correct. Because it's what I always tell people, like, Jason, you can't be right all the time. Well, I have to be right. I need to be right. I'm coaching people for a living. So if I'm wrong, I better change my stance and make my stance correct. And that's a better way to look at it. By being right, it doesn't mean that I need to be right always the first time, but it means that I better correct my stance. And by the way, my martial artist clients agree with me on my other stance, by the way. So for those curious who hire me to actually get them stronger, they know that their strength carries over to their martial arts. Right? So anyone who's arguing against that, you're basically an idiot and you need to shut up. You really don't know what you're talking about. And I have talked to instructors, and I do know some pretty good instructors. People looked at my private Facebook, they'd realize that. I am friends with some pretty good instructors, and they all agree. You send people to tournaments and strength matters. So people need to shut up with that sheer stupidity. You're basically an idiot. So, over to the point. I need to be correct because people are paying me to give them results. So if I'm wrong, I better correct my stance and get my stance right and admit that I was wrong so that I can be right moving forward. That's what we have to do. So what are we doing here? We're alternating. The first one was rough. It was like, oh man, I haven't pulled any sort of mixed grip in a while. That felt weird. It was all catawampus. But then I got into the groove, and you know what? When I just reach down and grip it and rip it, it does pretty good. Felt pretty good, guys. Not gonna lie. Felt pretty good. So let's see how that goes coming up. I'll play around back and forth. I'm obviously going to do both every week. I'm going to do some hook grip. I'm going to do some mixed grip every week on the speed pulls. Let's go back and forth. When it comes time to max out, and I believe I'm going to max deadlift of some type this coming week, I might mess with a mixed grip, see how it feels, keep working on my grip work, and find the one that seems to be comfortable, get in and do maybe a mixed grip and see how that goes. See if that's a limiting factor at all. But I do need to be doing all of it. Again, we need to have options. Because, you know, what happens if I need to pull heavy, and I've been doing only hook grip, and then my thumbs are too fatigued. And by fatigued, I mean the skin is ripped or torn. I've ripped the skin. Well, you're not going to pull with that. I can promise you, you're not. You guys can talk about being tough all you want. I'll do it. No, you won't. Promise you, you're not going to pull 500 plus pounds with ripped skin on your thumb with a hook grip. You can talk about being tough till you reach up and have to do it. And then you cry and turn loose of it. You know, because sometimes pain, when we go to lift a heavy weight, pain itself will make you stop a lift. It does happen. Welcome to reality. It's the way your nervous system works. Not even about being tough. So, you know, I need to have these options open. I need to be able to do the different grips. And if I'm going to mess with mixed grip any at all, I need to make sure I'm doing it safe. And I think by doing only singles, it's going to be a lower risk anyways, because I'm always used to getting a new fresh grip each time. Get used to it. And I think by gripping and ripping, that helps because you just squat down, grab it, and then pull. Now, some people will be like, well, it looks like your elbows are slightly bent. No, that is my lockout. I always got to remind people of that. Not everyone has the same range of motion. That is literally as far as my joints go. That is lockout. And it's never been an issue before. When I tore my bicep years ago, it was over 600 pounds on the bar. It was over 600 pounds on the bar. And it was fatigue. It was fatigue. So, again, it went good today with this. I'm happy with it. The box squats didn't go well. I didn't put it up on camera. We don't need to see that. I don't need that going up on gym fails. We don't need that up there, but I definitely had a mishap. And as you guys can see, I don't know, you can probably see it pretty good. My right shin there, yeah, it's bleeding. It's bleeding on camera. You know what? It happens. But we decided to do these. I'm going to do glute bridges every workout. The other accessories I'm going to do mostly on max effort. I feel like right now for my deadlifting, I need more glute and hamstring. This should help. All right, this will be a fantastic deadlift accessory. I've assessed where my weak links are in my deadlifts. I need to be able to follow through with hamstring. I need to use my glutes and everything to pop it off the floor better. I think this is the direction I need to go. So we still are going to do the other stuff, right? My squat is my strongest lift right now. I don't need to do squat accessories more than 1 day a week. Okay? Just is what it is. My deadlift is not caught up to my squat, and my squat is probably going to keep excelling. So I need to make sure that my deadlift does get a good assistance work twice a week. I feel like glute bridges are going to work really well. Obviously, I'm doing a lot of, on my off days for the Metcon and everything, I'm doing a lot of glute ham raises. So you guys see some of them on camera. Not all of them, but you see some of them. So that's being handled also. But I feel like on the main training days, really coming in and focusing on a quality assistance movement like this. What's really an accessory? To work on those weak links on the deadlift with a good 10 sets every week. I feel like it's going to carry over. It's going to help my deadlift. I feel like if I get my hamstrings and my glutes stronger and get my grip strength up, I think deadlifts will start moving again. Just like we need more tricep work in the closed grip for the bench press, this is what we need to do. So that's going to be the plan moving forward. So I'm not going to put a heavy focus on squat accessories because it's moving good. Squat's been moving good. I've been PRing, and I feel like once a week will work. The deadlift needs to be addressed twice a week. So we're going to keep knocking this out and keep progressing on it. I'm going to just progress slow. I did 20-pound jumps today. I did a 10-pound jump. And the last set was hard. The first four, I'm like, man, I don't know if I put enough weight on. Maybe I should have jumped 20 again. Then I got to the last set, and you get to like rep 6 and your hamstring cramps a little bit. It's like, no, okay, this is right. Just because the first few sets aren't that hard, it isn't a big deal. But by the time I got to set 5, then I started feeling it add up. So we're just going to keep moving it forward at a good, steady rate and just keep building the weight up on this. And I feel like once this weight gets up pretty good, I think it'll carry over. I think once I'm past 400 pounds for work sets 5x10, I think we'll see some good carryover. So I hope it has been informative, and I will talk to you guys next time.